Well, and like I told people about Dan Quinn, he is the ultimate hoorah guy.
For sure.
He will bring, he can sell water to a well. He will have guys playing fast. He will do all of those things. And then like his defenses have a shelf life. To me, that's why I like a guy like Zimmer. Zimmer, just in the looks he gives you pre-snap and stuff he does. With Dan Quinn was all cover one and just rush. And Micah, please just get home.
Come on, get home. Yeah, please.
With Quinn, he does. I mean, with Zimmer, he does such a good job with blitz. I mean, look how he has Maris Lewis foul playing. Remember this time last year? Yeah. Remember this time last year was like our linebackers stink. I mean,
come on, man.
Marquise Bell.
Yeah, our linebackers been one of the bright spots this year. To be honest,
they have AOC, and so that's why I would fight to get Mike Zimmer. He is a well-spoken guy. He's so cut and dry that it's really taken over. The defense has taken over his vibe to me. I watch his interviews, and he's like, "Nah."
I'm glad you brought that up, bro.
Bro,
I have so much I want to dive into this with John. Yeah, I want to dive into something with John. What was that flipping point in his interview? He's talked about the one regret he had was not doing things his way.
Yes. Stay right there, AOC.
Yes. Where was that flipping point?
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's interesting because the season went poorly, so you can say stuff like that. But let's say they, finish with 8 wins or something like that. Who's to say that if he doesn't come in, let's say right when he gets the job, let's back to OTAs, mini camp, training camp. Who's to say that he just goes in immediately is like, I don't care what Dan Quinn did. This is what I do. And he's like kind of like the hardcore guy that he had been in the past. Who's to say that the team all just kind of gives him the bird and it's like, we're not doing
it. Get them some mofos off my team, man. Who's to say that?
Micah Parsons. I'm Micah Parsons. You got a 1-year deal. I'm going to be here for the next 8 years. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So you have to kind of meld that in. And the reason why I say that it's easy to say this in hindsight is because it's very similar to what Mike McCarthy said. If he said that he could go back, he wouldn't have done the Kellen Moore thing. He would have taken over the offense from day one. But with that being said, there probably would have been some more, hiccups and things like that. But I don't know that the game exactly, to answer your question, where it kind of flipped. I think it's a gradual thing where it was like he was able to kind of put more and more of his stuff in. Because the reason why I say hindsight's 2020 is because I don't know about you guys, but like I really didn't think in the opener against Cleveland that I thought I was like, damn, this defense is going to be nice. Like I did not think there was going to be really that many growing pains. Overshown was swarming around, and then there was like 2 or 3 games after that, particularly the games at home, where I was like, what happened to that defense against Cleveland?
He was just looking crazy. He was like,
Overshown was like making the big plays, and I don't know that maybe he didn't utilize him the right way but obviously the longer the season went on, Overshown was utilized that way, and Leofau has come on, and Mike Zimmer loves it.
I'll tell you where I feel like the switch was, right? Okay. I feel like the switch happened where Mike Zimmer essentially was like, you know what, the hell with this, I'm going to go out on my own shield. I think that happened when Micah and D-Law went down. Because after Micah and D-Law went down, and I'm sure if we look up the statistics, it would probably bear this out. The defense got a lot more aggressive. We start to see a lot more rushes. The defense got very, very aggressive. And remember that first game after they went down, they played above their head to the point where we were like, what the hell's going on? Like, what just happened? To me, I think that's when Mike Zimmer was like, you know what? My turn. Let me just do this how I'm going to do it. Since I don't have the guys that I guess the last scheme was kind of built around in a sense, let me just do this thing my way. And I think when Micah came back, we saw his production uptick as well. And I feel like a lot of that's because Mike Zimmer was just like, hey, man, you about to fit into what we're doing. I just need you to do this. Because remember, Micah actually said Mike Zimmer pulled him to the side. When he came back, Mike Zimmer and him had a conversation. And he challenged him to be a better leader.
Yeah.
Micah said this, right? And this was like right before he came back from his injury, he talked about this. So I think that was the point where Mike Zimmer was like, my show now. So I think that was a very interesting quote from him.
Also, I'll say this, with Mike McCarthy as a head coach, the bye weeks are always huge. You can tell the bye week was the switch of, we're going to chill out on this running back by committee. It's Rico's show now. That's what we're doing. Especially when the season doesn't start the way they want. And I bet you a lot around the bye week, too, probably factored in. Right before the bye week, you're talking about that's the Lions game that they lost 9. But the week before that, things look great against Pittsburgh, and I remember coming out of that game thinking, maybe Pittsburgh's just not that good. And then you look at how the rest of the season unfolds, like, damn, that's their best win, So I think it was probably somewhere around there. So I agree with you. Yeah. But I just feel like it's the Saints and Ravens games when they got blown out at home.
That was crazy.
Like kind of where he started being like,
couldn't believe it.
Right.
Well, I think that one of the things that I've appreciated about Zimmer was like, hey man, the best player is gonna play. And so like I think other DCs would have, hey, let's just keep, Damone Clark in there. No, wasn't good enough. Maris was giving us what we need. He's where he's supposed to be. He knows the scheme. He's getting home. Maris is gonna play. And Maris played early and has played throughout. I clearly think he's gonna be your Mike next year. And
so that's what Zimmer said. He says that's what he thinks his position is going forward. That he'll be.
Man, who's this dumbass in the chat, man? Why we got these dummies in the chat, man?
What's going on? Man?
Hey, man, this dude came in here talking in all caps. No one wants to coach or play in Dallas. Micah wants out, man. Hey, man. Hey, y'all be killing me,
listen,
dog.
AOC. Okay,
they want a 2-hour show, by the way. I'm with it. We got a lot to cover, dog.
One of the things that I think is funny about the Micah thing, real quick, is so people put out these graphics on Twitter and on Instagram with these odds of next team that Micah Parsons is going to go to. And I have a lot of friends that are Lions fans, so they're sending this thing to me. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to scroll all the way to the bottom of this. And it's in that 1-point font down there that says, if he's not back with the Cowboys. So it's like they bury that, because if you put that at the top, it's like, well, look at this, nobody cares. It's like, it's not going anywhere. Like, it's so ridiculous that people think that Jerry Jones is going to let Micah Parsons leave the building. It's not happening.
Yeah, that would be crazy for Parsons and Aiden Hutchinson to be on the same team.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen. That's not happen.
And let me ask you this, Law. Mm-hmm. When you talk about this defense, like I said, Zimmer came in, brought it. I think the numbers aren't going to say how much better this team in defense got. Do you agree with that?
No, it's not going to say that. One of the things we can see is that the team itself started to buy in, like, overall. One of the impediments of this defense been the secondary, in my opinion. I think that we never shored up the veteran DB, and it showed. Look, just this past game, Booth. I'm still looking for Booth, man. And before that time frame, of course, Carson didn't play the way we wanted to see him play. But we could clearly look into this front seven and say, man, they played remarkable. That's why we can go back and say these things. And one of the things that Mike Zim, I had to take away the button, but I brought it back just while we was talking. We didn't get a chance to see this Mike Zim.
Get your up there, contain the damn ball.
We didn't get that one. We didn't get that one, because now I believe that if he had to do over, he would have been able to be more boisterous and been able to walk around in his own skin a whole lot better.
It's tough to say if you can do that nowadays, though. That's the only thing else.
Yeah, true.
You got to pick and choose your spots. I mean, I think Dan Campbell's kind of a hard ass sometimes, but he's also like a player favorite because he does so many things that, like, you can tell that they're in the foxhole together.
Right.
It's like, I don't know that, like, there's just so many of those like the clip you played right there, man. I just feel like I've heard 1,000 of those of Bill Parcells.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just kind of like Bobby Knight with Indiana. You're like, yeah, for that time, that's fine. But as you go on and the game evolves and the players change and personalities change, like, I don't know that you can win today doing that all the time. You have to pick and choose your spots to do what you just played in that clip. You can still do it, but you can't be doing it every single practice, man. I mean, just to be honest with you, like, if you're a $100 million corner in Trayvon Diggs, you're looking at a guy yelling at you like
yeah.
Where do you think I'm going?
But you know what? I hate that mentality.
I know. I don't love it either, but
I know. But one of the things we heard the most, man, about those great Patriots teams was Bill Belichick went at all of his guys. He went at Tom. He singled Tom out in front of people. He would go at Ty Law. He would go at his best players.
Shout out to the Laws,
and put them guys on the even playing field. And to me, the best coaches, they have the ability to coach their best players the same way with a coach the last dude on the roster. Period, bro. So if you're the type of player that because you're getting a big paycheck, you don't want to take coaching anymore, then you're not a championship player anyways.
Facts.
We're screwed regardless.